Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about abortion and why God is pro-choice. He's pro-choice. If you read the Bible, then you know that he is pro-choice. But all we have are a bunch of people saying, oh, abortion is wrong, abortion's murder, and blah, 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 all that, right? So let's talk about where they get that from. Why I think people, mostly Christians, have this view that the Bible is against abortion. So we're going to read from Jeremiah chapter 1, and in verse 5, it says, so in verse 4, then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. So that was Jeremiah chapter 1, verses 4 through 5. And this is the verse that a lot of Christians use to say God is against abortion because he formed us in our mother's womb. He knew us then. Okay. Keep in mind that he's talking to Jeremiah here. He's not talking to me. He's not talking to you. He's talking to Jeremiah. So but apparently that means that all of us are formed that God knew all of us in the womb, despite the fact that the literal book is about God talking to Jeremiah. But we're going to ignore that. I want you guys to know that that's where the anti-abortion sentiment comes from, or at least that's just one verse. That's the one that you hear most often. That's the one you hear people like Pat Robertson use. That's the one that you hear your pastor in church use. That's the one that the politicians use. Now let's talk about the part that they don't read to you. Let's talk about that. We're going to go to the book of Numbers, you guys. Let's go to Numbers. I'm going to read a few verses from Numbers chapter 5. And by the way, all the verses will always be in the description. So please take a look for yourselves so you can know what this mess says, because it's all mess. So let me see. I don't even know where I'm going to start with this. So let me do a little summary of what this story is. So this story has to do with God talking to Moses, and God is saying to Moses, here's the test to see if a woman is faithful to her husband or not. What it says is, and I'm going to read it to you, what it says is that the husband who is thinking that his wife is cheating, he should bring her to a priest. The priest will concoct some little concoction, some little potion, poison, and the woman will drink it. And somehow this magic potion will know if she cheated or not. Because if she did cheat, then the baby will die. And, because it has to do with if she's pregnant or not. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say that. If you suspect your pregnant wife as being unfaithful, you have her drink the little potion, she will miscarry. It literally says that. And if she didn't cheat, then nothing will happen. I need to know how a potion knows if a woman cheated or not, I guess. But let's just read a little bit. So we're in Numbers, you guys. The book of Numbers, chapter 11. Let's start at verse 11. Okay. Numbers 5:11. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, if any man's wife go aside and commit a trespass against him, and a man lie with her carnally, and it be hid from the eyes of her husband, and be kept close, and she be defiled, and there be no witness against her, neither she be taken with the manner, and the spirit of jealousy comes upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be defiled, or if the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be not defiled, then shall the man bring his wife unto the priest, and he shall bring her offering for her. then it goes into, so we're on chapter 15 now. It starts going into the ingredients of this potion, this magic potion. Barley, frankincense, blah, 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 blah. Let me skip down. We're going to skip down to verse number 27, right? Yeah. Okay, verse number 27. Numbers 5, verse 27. And when he hath made her to drink the water, then it shall come to pass that if she be defiled and have done trespass against her husband, that the water that causeth the curse shall enter her and become bitter, and her belly shall swell, and her thigh shall rot, and the woman shall be a curse among her people. So let's talk a little bit more about that. In some other versions of the Bible as well, you read the literal word miscarry. You read, but here in the King James Version, you literally read that her belly shall rot. What is that in reference to? That's, hello, her belly's already, it wants her belly to swell. That's if she cheated, right? So what does that mean? That means abortion to me. If you're drinking something and it causes you to not be able to have the baby that's inside, that's an abortion. So I need to understand why people say that God isn't for abortion. God is very pro-abortion. If your husband is curious about you, if your husband suspects you of maybe doing something you probably shouldn't have been doing, that's when you get to have an abortion. Yes, that's when you get to have an abortion. No other time though, in case you were wondering. So yeah, you guys, that is the end of this video. That's all I have for you today. The verses are going to be in the description. We're talking about the Jeremiah verse and the Numbers verse. So you can kind of try to understand both sides. Here's where one side is coming from, and then here's where I'm coming from, and where no pastor's going to read this in church to you. I'm sorry, they just simply will not. So now you know, and maybe you can educate somebody, because read the book. No one reads anymore, so I need you guys to read and to, spread the word, God's word. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next